Today we compare three free and open source denoise tools, so RawForge, Denoise, and Restormer. So we will compare the final images, but we will also compare for memory use and completion time. So if that sounds good for you, let's go. Most of the time I shoot landscape photography, so all my pictures are about ISO 100. But I found a few Milky Way shots we will be able to use for testing. So all of them were shot with my Micro Four Thirds camera before it was stolen when I was traveling. So all these pictures were shot between ISO 3200 and 12,800. So they were very noisy. So if we look at this example, you can see it's noise everywhere. But I also took two pictures with my Sony camera. So one was shot at ISO 3200 and the other one was shot at ISO 12,800. So on all these images, I ran Denoise, Restormer, and RawForge. And during that time, I tracked for completion time as well as RAM and VRAM consumption. I've also tested 4 different tools, but the results were so bad I didn't make any videos about them. With these tools, it's like if the end result was looking like plastic, so I didn't like the end result at all. Also, I had to resize the images to make them smaller, otherwise the model wouldn't fit my 16 gig GPU. Because of that, I don't think these models are good and I didn't make any video about them. But I will put the results somewhere on the screen in case you are interested. Now, I will start with RawForge and you will understand why. What's nice with this tool is that it's the only one that can accept RAW files. And because the output is a DNG, you don't lose details when you want to do post-processing. But as you can see, the end result is not good at all. So it looked like a Christmas tree with all the red and blue dots. And if we look at the second picture, same thing. So a lot of red and blue. And then the third picture, same thing, red and blue everywhere. Next, picture number 4. This one is a little bit better, but if we look a little bit closer, we see we have the same type of patterns right there. All these pictures were taken with my Micro Four Thirds camera. So when I saw it at first, I told myself maybe that camera wasn't supported. So that's why I wanted to try with the raw files from my Sony camera. So if we look at the next picture, this one is perfectly fine. And this one was shot at ISO 3200. But now let's look at this picture I took with the Sony camera at ISO 12,800. So when we look at this full screen, it looked perfectly fine. But when we zoom in, we see we still have some dots right there. So it's not as bad as with my Micro Four Thirds camera, but there's still something there. By the way, this is a picture I took yesterday night from my driveway. It was very cold, but I needed a picture for testing. Overall, I think RawForge is a great tool, even if it didn't work well on some of the pictures. And the reason I like it is because it's the only one that can accept RAW files. Also, it doesn't take a lot of VRAM when you use it, and the installation is very easy. Another thing I should mention is that this project is still in alpha release, so I'm sure the developer will improve the model over time. And when that happens, I think this project will probably be the best denoiser in the list. And that's why I wanted to mention it in this video. Now let's talk about Restormer and Denoise. When I made the video about Denoise, I didn't like the result as much as Restormer. But then I realized I wasn't using the latest Denoise model. So for this test, I processed all the picture using the latest model from 2021. Before running the models, I had to convert all the raw files into 16-bit PNG files because Restormer only accepts PNG files. For your information, Denoise also accepts 16-bit TIFF files. I've tried 32 bits, but it didn't work. I believe TIFF files are better than PNG, so that's a win for Denoise. Now, let's look at the results. On the left, you see the original raw file that was shot at ISO 12,800. In the middle, you have Denoise, and on the left, you have Restormer. If we zoom in, you can see that both Restormer and Denoise did a great job removing the noise. Even if I move across the picture, both did a great job removing everything. Now, if we compare Restormer and Denoise, you can see on the right that Restormer has like a green cast on the church. So I remember when I was there, the church was completely white. So when I look at Restormer, the color seems off. So then if we look at the second picture, Same thing, so if we look the picture on the right, we can see there is like a green cast on the roof. The only way I found to fix this issue is to play with Demosaic. Inside Darktable, if we open the Demosaic module, there is something named Match Green, so I had to put it to local average. After that, if I export it as a PNG file and I process it with Restormer, the green cast will be gone. But this is an additional step, and I don't like it. Except for that, I think both Denoise and Restormer did a great job. But if, for example, we look at this picture more closely, they will look very similar. But if we pixel peep, we will see that Denoise did a better job removing some of the spots. So I'm not sure if you will be able to see it on YouTube, but right there is a spot I don't see on the Denoise version. And same thing if I go down right there, Restormer didn't remove this spot while Denoise removed it entirely. But then if we look at the third picture, I think it's the opposite. So there are some pixels that were not removed by Denoise, but were removed by Restormer. So depending on the picture, one model will work better than the other. But to be honest, you need to pixel peep to see the difference. So right now I'm zoomed at 100%, and that's how I'm able to see it, and it's very, very minimal. Another thing I should mention is that on this picture, Denoise looks softer than Restormer. But on some other picture, so if I go back to the first one, on this one, when I look at the night sky, Restormer looks soft while Denoise seems to have more details. Overall, I think Denoise is the winner, and there are two reasons. First, it doesn't have the green cast, so you have less pre-processing to do before running the model. And the second reason is the hardware requirements. So I will put the values somewhere on the screen, but Denoise is much faster and requires slightly less RAM and VRAM to operate. Overall, both Denoise and Restormer clean the noise very well. But Denoise is much faster, uses less VRAM, and works with TIFF files. So for me, that's the winner. RawForge works with RAW files, but for me, it didn't work with images with ISO above 3200. But this project is still in alpha, so I will keep an eye on this project. So moving forward, I think I will just try to use Denoise. So if you are also able to try these models, let me know in the comments what you think. So that's it for me. See you next time.